Part 1. The Myth That Won't Die.
That helmet, the one with the horns, you've seen it 1,000 times. Movies, video games, that guy at Comic-Con. Here's the thing, no Viking ever wore it. Not once. Not in battle, not in a raid, not ever. So where did it come from? And why has it survived 200 years of historians screaming into the void trying to correct it? Stick around, because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the one Viking detail that's even stranger than the helmet myth. And almost no documentary talks about it. We're going to trace this lie back to where it actually started. Not in Scandinavia, not anywhere near a battlefield, in an opera house. And once you see where it came from, you'll never look at a Viking movie the same way again. 200 years. That's how long this myth has survived. Longer than most countries have existed. And it's not like nobody tried to correct it. Historians have been saying the same thing since the 1900s. Vikings didn't wear horns, period. But somehow, the lie won.
Part 2. Where did the myth really come from?
Let's go back, way back. Not to a Viking longship, to a German opera house in 1876. That's where composer Richard Wagner staged his opera cycle, Der Ring des Nibelungen. And the costume designer, a man named Karl Emil Doppler, needed his Norse warriors to look bigger than life, mythical. So he put horns on their helmets. Wait, because this gets better. Doppler wasn't trying to be historically accurate. He was trying to make Norse gods look terrifying on a stage, from 50 feet away, under gaslighting. Horns did that job perfectly. Nobody in that audience checked the archaeology. Why would they? It was opera. It was myth. It was supposed to look impossible, but the image stuck. It got copied, painted, illustrated in children's books. And by the time the 20th century rolled around, it wasn't a costume choice anymore. It was history.
Part 3. What the Vikings really wore.
So what did real Vikings actually wear into battle? In 1943, archaeologists dug up a farm called Gjermundbu in Norway. Inside a burial mound, they found a helmet. A real one. Iron. Rounded. With a distinctive spectacle-shaped guard over the eyes. No horns. Not even close. And here's the detail that gets skipped constantly. This is the only nearly complete Viking Age helmet ever found. Out of hundreds of graves, thousands of artifacts, one helmet, 0 horns. So why not more helmets? Simple. Most Viking warriors couldn't afford one. Iron was expensive. A full metal helmet was a luxury item, something for chieftains, for the wealthy. Most fighters went into battle with leather caps, or nothing at all, which means the helmet most Vikings actually wore was no helmet. Nobody puts that on a movie poster.
Part 4. Why did Hollywood never let go of the myth?
So historians have known this for over a century. Museums have known it. Archaeologists have practically begged filmmakers to stop. And yet, every single major Viking franchise still puts horns somewhere. A helmet, a ship's prow, a helmet on a mascot. Why? Because it's not about accuracy. It's about recognition. The second you see horns, your brain says Viking instantly. No context needed. No explanation. It's a shortcut. And nobody wants to give up a shortcut that works. Now remember what I promised you at the start. A detail even stranger than the helmet myth. We're getting there. Because the horned helmet isn't even the biggest lie about the Vikings. It's just the most visible one. The real story is bigger. And it's about to get uncomfortable for anyone who thinks Vikings were just warriors who liked to raid and pillage. Because most of them weren't warriors at all.
Part 5. The Viking world no one shows you.
Here's what almost no Viking movie shows you. Most Norse people who traveled abroad during the Viking Age weren't raiders. They were farmers, traders, and settlers. Viking traders reached Baghdad, Constantinople. They sailed river systems deep into what's now Russia, trading furs and amber for silver coins from the Islamic Caliphate. Think about that for a second. A farmer from a fjord in Norway, trading directly with merchants from the Middle East, centuries before anyone called it globalization. And here's where it gets messy, because that word, Viking, wasn't even what they called themselves. Viking was an activity, a verb. It meant going on a raiding expedition. Most people we call Vikings today never did that. Not once in their lives. They farmed, they fished, they raised families in longhouses. We took one violent job title and turned an entire culture into it.
Part 6. The truth about Viking women.
Now let's talk about something that gets argued about constantly online: Viking women. In 2017, researchers re-examined a 1,000-year-old grave in Birka, Sweden. It had been excavated back in the 1800s, and everyone assumed the skeleton belonged to a male warrior, because it was buried with a sword, an axe, a spear, and 2 horses. DNA testing in 2017 confirmed something nobody expected. The skeleton was female. Does that mean every Viking woman fought in battles? No. Historians still debate exactly what her role was. But it does mean something important. We buried our assumptions in that grave for over 100 years. Nobody questioned the sword. Nobody questioned the horses. We just assumed warrior meant man. And we were wrong for over a century. Makes you wonder what else we assumed and never checked.
Part 7. Why was the myth never innocent?
Now here's the part almost no documentary talks about. The part I promised you at the beginning. In the early 20th century, the horned helmet Viking image got picked up by a very specific group: European nationalist movements, including later Nazi Germany. They used the image of the pure, powerful Nordic warrior, horns and all, as propaganda, a symbol of racial purity and conquest. The myth wasn't just historically wrong. For a while, it was weaponized. Which means every time that image gets used casually today, in a movie, a game, a sports logo, it's carrying baggage most people never learned about. Not because using it today is offensive, but because the cool warrior aesthetic we love so much didn't start as innocent fantasy. It started as opera, it got hijacked by propaganda, and it somehow still ended up on a football helmet in Minnesota. History is weird like that.
Part 8. Conclusion.
So the next time you see that helmet, horns and all, you'll know exactly where it came from. An opera stage, a costume designer with a flair for drama, and a myth that got repeated so many times, it became true. The real Vikings? They were farmers, traders, settlers, some of them warriors, some of them women buried with swords nobody questioned for 100 years. They weren't a costume, they were people. If you knew about the opera origin already, let me know in the comments. And if you didn't, I want to hear that too, because the real history is always stranger than the myth.
This is the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Goodbye.